The Panama Canal, one of the most critical trade routes in the world, is struggling to keep up with the demands of modern global shipping. Water shortages, massive delays, and skyrocketing costs are pushing nations and companies to consider bold alternatives. From colossal railways to billion-dollar canals, the race to replace this iconic passage is heating up, and the stakes couldn't be higher. But the Panama Canal isn't giving up without a fight. The Panama Canal Authority is implementing ambitious upgrades and innovative strategies to maintain its edge in the fast-evolving world of global trade. Stick around as we uncover the high-stakes battle reshaping global trade. Opened in 1914, the Panama Canal acts as an essential connection between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Its strategic layout greatly shortens maritime travel duration, saving weeks compared to conventional paths. The canal is essential for global trade, managing about 2.5% of all international commerce currently. Prior to the canal's opening, ships had to navigate a tough and extended journey around South America through the Strait of Magellan or Cape Horn. This trip may last several months, creating considerable logistical difficulties. Alternative pathways, including the Northwest Passage, were mostly unreachable because of constant ice obstruction, making them unsuitable for commercial shipping. The idea of a canal through Panama was brought to life by the United States in 1902 after obtaining rights from an unsuccessful French endeavor. Constructing the canal demanded massive efforts, as workers needed to excavate more than 200 million cubic meters of soil to create a route through the challenging landscape. This was accomplished with dynamite, large drills, and steam-driven shovels, representing one of the most ambitious engineering projects of its era. The building site was highly dangerous, resulting in almost 6,000 fatalities among workers. Key factors included heat stroke, rock slides, and widespread tropical illnesses such as malaria and yellow fever. To prevent any more deaths, locks and gates with a 30-meter height disparity between the two oceans were developed. The overall expense for building the canal was $375 million back when it was constructed, which is roughly $122 billion now when accounting for inflation. In spite of the considerable financial and human expenses, the canal was opened to wide praise in August 1914, coinciding with the onset of World War I. During its inaugural year of operation, the canal efficiently enabled the passage of 1,000 vessels, showing its significance as an important global trade pathway. But despite its glory, the Panama Canal is now experiencing a crisis because of major water shortages, especially impacting Gatun Lake, the canal's primary water source. After almost 60 years, the lake has hit dangerously low levels for the first time, and the issue is being worsened by climate change, leading to more frequent and severe droughts in the area. As a result, the daily transit count has decreased from 36 to 38 ships to only 24, and larger ships are now required to carry reduced cargo due to draft limitations, which refer to the depth at which a ship can safely navigate the canal. Consequently, shipping expenses on specific routes have increased by up to 400%, putting substantial pressure on global trade and supply chains. This crisis brings forth concerns regarding the canal's long-term sustainability and its capacity to handle the expanding dimensions of modern ships and the rising levels of maritime trade, casting doubt on whether it can persist in fulfilling the needs of international trade moving forward. With increasing challenges for the Panama Canal, other projects are developing to transform international trade pathways. Among the most ambitious projects is Mexico's Interoceanic Corridor, a railway spanning 303 kilometers aimed at linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The passage starts at the port of Coatzacoalcos on the Gulf Coast and stretches to Salina Cruz on the Pacific Coast, providing a possible detour for sea traffic. The logistics of the project involve offloading cargo at one port, moving it by rail, and subsequently reloading it at the other port, a process that may provide considerable time advantages for specific routes. With an anticipated expense of $7.5 billion, the proposal involves significant improvements to both ports to boost efficiency and capability. By 2033, the corridor aims to handle 1.4 million TEUs, or 20-foot equivalent units, annually, and early operations have already demonstrated faster transit times than the Panama Canal in specific scenarios. However, its ultimate success hinges on seamless coordination of cargo transfers between ships and trains, which remains a logistical challenge to overcome. Another significant project is Colombia's railway project, a 240-kilometer rail system aimed at linking the Atlantic and Pacific coasts close to the Panama border. This ambitious project is a component of Colombia's wider national plan to renovate its rail infrastructure, featuring a proposed expansion of 1,800 kilometers over the next decades. The projected expense of the project lies between $7 and $13 billion as it remains in the feasibility stage. The railway could offer an effective option for moving cargo between the two oceans, possibly reducing strain on the Panama Canal. But despite everything, the project encounters its fair share of challenges. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you like this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, is it done? Great, thanks so much. Back to Colombia's railway project. It would have to pass through environmentally sensitive regions, such as rainforests and safeguarded wildlife areas, demanding meticulous planning to reduce ecological disturbance. Additionally, the railway's route would traverse areas occupied by indigenous and Afro-Colombian populations, requiring thorough consultation and dialogue with these communities to ensure that the project respects local rights and concerns. Certain critics argue that improving current rail infrastructure could be a more economical and less disruptive solution. In spite of these challenges, many experts think that the construction demands for the railway are feasible and could be finished with sufficient funding and technological know-how. If it succeeds, the railway could greatly enhance Colombia's economy while serving as a competitive option to the Panama Canal. An additional alternative is the Nicaragua Mega Canal, which is considered one of the most ambitious and controversial options to the Panama Canal. Stretching an intended length of 278 kilometers, this canal seeks to link Bluefields on the Caribbean shoreline with Brito on the Pacific shore, traversing Lake Nicaragua, the biggest freshwater lake in Central America. If completed, it would establish a vast infrastructure corridor that could change international shipping routes. The project's estimated cost is a staggering $64.5 billion, reflecting its colossal scale. The canal would feature locks measuring 510 meters long, 77 meters wide, and 27 meters deep, dimensions specifically designed to accommodate the world's largest ships. Its scale far surpasses that of the Panama Canal, positioning it as a potential game-changer in the shipping industry. However, the challenges associated with the project have kept it in limbo for years. One major hurdle has been funding. The primary financial backer, Chinese company HKND Group, withdrew its support, citing economic and political uncertainties. Since then, Nicaragua has struggled to attract new investors willing to shoulder the immense financial burden. In addition to financial issues, the canal faces severe environmental concerns. The path would pass through delicate ecosystems, threatening biodiversity and possibly disrupting water resources for nearby communities. Lake Nicaragua, an essential freshwater source, may face lasting ecological harm from construction and heightened traffic. At present, the project is stuck in the planning phase, lacking a definitive direction. The elements of financial instability, logistical challenges, and environmental opposition make the Nicaragua Mega Canal an unpredictable venture, despite its capacity to revolutionize maritime trade. If we talk about the Panama Canal's response to the crisis, the Panama Canal Authority, or ACP, is implementing a mix of short and long-term strategies to address the current crisis and secure its future viability. To optimize operations and conserve resources, the canal has introduced several immediate solutions. A new booking system limits customers to one transit slot per day, streamlining scheduling and ensuring fair access during high-demand periods. Additionally, the newer locks, constructed during the canal's expansion, have proven instrumental in conserving water, using 7% less water per transit compared to the original locks. Together with other operational adjustments, these measures have yielded positive results, mitigating some of the strain caused by declining water levels and increased traffic demand. Looking ahead, the ACP is investing in transformative infrastructure projects to ensure the canal's sustainability. One of the most significant initiatives is the $1.6 billion Indio River Dam project, which aims to create a new reservoir, increasing the canal's water storage capacity. Scheduled for completion by 2030 to 2031, the dam is designed to provide a stable water supply even during severe droughts, enabling the canal to handle 36 transits daily. To move the project forward, the ACP is also addressing the complex issues of community relocation and land rights, balancing development with social responsibility. Despite these challenges, the Panama Canal remains a highly profitable enterprise. In 2024, the canal generated $4.99 billion in revenue, underscoring its critical role in global trade. Net profits reached $3.45 billion, an 8% increase from the previous year, demonstrating the ACP's ability to adapt and thrive. These financial gains provide a strong foundation for funding ongoing improvements and expansions, highlighting the canal's resilience and commitment to overcoming its current difficulties. The race to replace or complement the Panama Canal highlights the ever-evolving demands of global trade and engineering ingenuity. While alternative projects across the Americas compete to reshape shipping routes, the Panama Canal's bold upgrades and resilience remind us why it remains an irreplaceable lifeline for international commerce. As the world watches, only time will reveal which vision for the future of maritime trade will prevail.